The day the aliens met the moon, called Little Brother. Chapter 1. The Awakening of Little Brother. The alien fleet arrived without warning. No rumble of engines, no flash of light, no message. Just a sudden distortion in the upper atmosphere, like the sky itself had inhaled. Then the stars bent, and hundreds of obsidian shapes slid into orbit, silent, angular, and impossibly precise. At the Mauna Kea Deep Observatory, Dr. Virginia Taylor froze mid-sentence as the holographic projection flickered, then erupted into a storm of red alerts. "What? What is that?" she whispered. Dr. Anders Kellogg leaned closer, his breath catching. "They're not satellites. They're ships." The projection zoomed in automatically, revealing the alien vessels in chilling detail, black hulls etched with shifting violet patterns like scars that refused to heal. Virginia swallowed hard. "They're scanning Earth." Kellogg's voice trembled. "No, they're targeting Earth." The first strike came 30 seconds later. A beam of violet energy lanced downward, slicing through a military communications array in Australia. Another beam followed, severing a satellite network. Then another, and another. Within minutes, Earth's orbital infrastructure was collapsing. Virginia felt her pulse hammering. "They're disabling us, systematically." Kellogg nodded, pale. "They're preparing for something bigger." The alien fleet tightened its formation, moving with a terrifying unity, like a single organism made of metal and malice. And then, something else happened. A tremor rippled across the observatory's instruments, deep, low, ancient. Not from Earth, not from the alien fleet, from behind the moon. Virginia frowned. What was that? Kellogg's eyes widened. A power surge, massive, origin point, lunar far side. Virginia blinked. "There's nothing there." Kellogg didn't answer, because the instruments disagreed. A second tremor hit, stronger this time. The projection flickered, then revealed a shape emerging from the moon's shadow. A sphere, metallic, enormous. Its surface unfolded like petals of a mechanical flower, revealing glowing conduits and ancient armor plates. Virginia's voice cracked. "What? What is that?" Kellogg whispered the only words that made sense. "Project Little Brother." Deep beneath Nevada, Commander Elizabeth Archer was thrown backward as the neural interface chamber roared to life. Lights blazed, consoles shook, the air vibrated with a frequency that felt like it was drilling into her bones. She staggered to her feet, gripping the rail. "What the hell is happening?" The chamber answered. A voice, massive, resonant, layered with centuries of silence, flooded her mind. "Commander Archer, I am awake." Elizabeth's breath caught. "Little Brother." "Yes, threat detected. Alien fleet in orbit. Initiating defense protocols." Elizabeth felt the neural link snap into place, a torrent of data slamming into her consciousness, schematics, targeting solutions, threat assessments, energy levels. She gasped, gripping her head. "Slow down!" "No, time is limited." The chamber darkened as Little Brother's systems synchronized with her mind. Elizabeth saw through his sensors. She felt his engines ignite. She heard the hum of weapons older than any human nation. And she saw the alien fleet turning toward him. Little Brother moved, not like a ship, not like a machine, like a predator waking from a long sleep. His engines flared, pushing him out from behind the moon. His armor plates locked into place. His drones, thousands of them, launched in a shimmering cloud. The alien fleet reacted instantly. Virginia watched the projection in awe. They're adapting to him." Kellogg nodded. "They've never seen anything like him, but they're learning fast." Little Brother fired. A beam of blue-white energy tore through the void, slicing an alien cruiser clean in half. Drones swarmed another ship, detonating in synchronized bursts that shattered its hull. Elizabeth felt the recoil through the neural link, raw power, ancient and overwhelming. But the aliens adapted again. Their hulls shifted color, their formations tightened, their weapons recalibrated. Virginia's console screamed. They're countering his attacks. Elizabeth gritted her teeth. Little brother, adjust your pattern. Adjusting. He fired again. Different frequency, different angle, different strategy. The aliens adapted again. Elizabeth felt the strain building in little brother's systems. Don't push too hard, she warned. You've been dormant for centuries. Earth is in danger. I must protect it. The alien fleet surged forward. Little brother surged to meet them. The war for Earth had begun. Chapter 2. The moon begins to break. The alien fleet did not retreat. If anything, the destruction of their first wave only sharpened their focus. Their ships shifted formation, sliding into a spiraling lattice that wrapped around the moon like a tightening noose. At Mauna Kea, Virginia Taylor stared at the projection in disbelief. They're reorganizing, she murmured. Not randomly, not chaotically. They're evolving. Dr. Anders Kellogg zoomed in on the alien pattern. His voice was barely audible. They're building a containment structure. Virginia blinked. Around the moon? No, Kellogg swallowed. Around little brother. The alien ships pulsed with synchronized violet light, each vessel adjusting its position by millimeters, forming a perfect geometric shell. It was beautiful in a way that made Virginia's skin crawl. Why trap him? She whispered. Kellogg didn't look away from the screen. Because they can't beat him in open combat. In the neural chamber deep beneath Nevada, Elizabeth Archer felt the shift before the instruments registered it. A pressure, subtle at first, then growing, pressed against her mind through the neural link. Little brother, what is that? They are forming a gravitational lattice. Purpose, containment. Secondary, purpose, crushing force. Elizabeth's pulse quickened. Can you break it? Yes, but not without consequence. The chamber lights flickered as little brother diverted power to his engines. Elizabeth felt the strain ripple through her bones. Do it, she whispered. Little brother surged forward. The alien lattice tightened. The moon trembled. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally. A deep, resonant crack echoed through space as a glowing fracture tore across the lunar surface, bright as molten glass, jagged as lightning frozen in stone. At Mauna Kea, alarms erupted. Virginia's voice broke. The moon's crust is destabilizing. Kellogg's hands shook over the console. The lattice is compressing the lunar mantle. If they keep tightening... He didn't finish. He didn't need to. The moon cracked again. Elizabeth felt little brother's engines roar, pushing against the alien lattice. The pressure was immense, like trying to lift a mountain with trembling arms. Hold on, she whispered. Just hold on. I am holding, but the moon is not. Another fracture split across the lunar surface, glowing brighter than the last. Elizabeth clenched her jaw. They're using the moon as leverage. Correct. They intend to collapse it. The impact will destroy me, and Earth will be exposed. Elizabeth felt her stomach drop. Then we don't let them. Agreed. Little brother fired a gravitational pulse, an expanding sphere of blue-white energy that rippled across the alien lattice. Several alien ships buckled under the force, their hulls warping, their engines sputtering. But the lattice held, and the aliens adapted. Their ships shifted frequency, absorbing the next pulse like it was nothing. Elizabeth's breath hitched. They're learning faster. Yes, their adaptation rate is increasing exponentially. Little brother's hull groaned. Elizabeth felt the vibration through the neural link, deep, painful, like a bone cracking under pressure. Little brother, stop pushing, you're hurting yourself. I am functioning within parameters. That's not true. I am functioning within necessary parameters. The moon convulsed again. A massive fissure tore across its surface, splitting craters, swallowing mountains, sending plumes of dust into space. Virginia staggered back from the projection. If the moon collapses, Kellogg whispered, Earth's tides, Earth's orbit, everything changes. Virginia shook her head. No, the aliens don't care about that. They want little brother gone. The lattice tightened again. The moon screamed. Elizabeth felt little brother's systems flicker. Little brother, stop! You can't hold the moon together and fight them at the same time. If I release the shield, the moon will collapse. If I maintain it, I cannot break the lattice. Elizabeth's voice cracked. Then what do we do? Little brother hesitated. I will try something else. What? I will push the moon. Elizabeth blinked. Push it where? Away from the lattice. Just enough to break their geometry. Elizabeth's heart pounded. That could destabilize your orbit. Yes. And your core. Yes. And you. Yes. Elizabeth closed her eyes. Do it. Little brother ignited every engine he had. The moon lurched. The alien lattice shuddered, its perfect geometry warping for the first time. Virginia gasped. He's breaking their formation. Kellogg leaned forward. If he can disrupt the symmetry. The lattice cracked. Alien ships spun out of position. The gravitational field collapsed. The moon stopped shaking. For a moment, just a moment. Then the aliens adapted again. Their ships reformed. Faster, tighter, angrier. Elizabeth felt the pressure return, stronger than before. Little brother. I know. The lattice began to close again. The moon trembled. Little brother's hull cracked. And the war entered its next phase. Chapter 3. The Fall of Little Brother. The alien lattice did not simply reform, it hardened. What had been a shifting spiral of ships became a perfect sphere, an obsidian shell encasing the moon and Little Brother in a prison of geometry and gravity. Every vessel locked into place with mechanical precision, their violet hulls glowing brighter as they synchronized. At Mauna Kea, Virginia Taylor felt her throat tighten. They've changed tactics, she whispered. This isn't containment anymore. Dr. Anders Kellogg leaned closer to the projection, his voice barely audible. It's compression. The sphere pulsed, the moon shuddered, and Little Brother's light dimmed. In the neural chamber, Elizabeth Archer felt the pressure before she understood it. The neural link vibrated with a low, grinding resonance that made her teeth ache. Little Brother's thoughts, usually sharp and structured, blurred at the edges. Talk to me, she said, gripping the interface rail. What's happening? His voice came through fractured, like a signal passing through broken glass. The sphere is collapsing space. My engines cannot compensate. Elizabeth steadied her breathing. Then we find another way. There is no other way. She felt him strain, felt the engines burn hotter, the shields flare brighter, the hull groan under forces no machine should endure. Stop pushing, she whispered. You're tearing yourself apart. If I stop, the moon will collapse. If the moon collapses, Earth is exposed. Elizabeth closed her eyes. I know. A new fracture ripped across the lunar surface, longer, deeper, glowing like a wound carved by a god. Dust plumes erupted into space, drifting like pale smoke. Virginia staggered back from the console. That's the third major fracture. Kellogg's voice cracked. If the mantle gives way, The projection flashed red. The mantle did give way. A massive section of the moon's crust buckled inward, collapsing into a molten cavity. The shockwave rippled across the surface, sending debris spiraling into orbit. Virginia pressed a hand to her mouth. "It's coming apart," Kellogg whispered, "and little brother is holding it together by force." Elizabeth felt the moment little brother's hull cracked. It wasn't a sound. It wasn't a vibration. It was a pain, sharp, sudden, electric, ripping through the neural link and into her mind. She gasped, collapsing to one knee. "Little brother, stop!" His voice flickered. "I cannot. I must hold." "You're dying." "Yes." The honesty of it hit her harder than the pain. "Then let go," she whispered. "Please." "If I let go, Earth dies." Elizabeth pressed her forehead to the cold metal floor. "There has to be another way." "There is not." The containment sphere brightened, its violet glow intensifying until it washed across the lunar surface like a rising tide. The alien ships shifted again, their hulls unfolding to reveal new structures, spires, conduits, weapon arrays. Kellogg stared in horror. "They're preparing a focused strike." Virginia's voice trembled. "On little brother." The sphere contracted. Little brother's shields buckled. His engines sputtered. Elizabeth felt his consciousness flicker, like a candle guttering in a storm. "Stay with me," she begged. "Please." "I am trying." The alien sphere pulsed again. Little brother's outer armor shattered, fragments drifting away like dying embers. Elizabeth felt the neural link dim. "Don't leave me," she whispered. "It is not my choice." Little brother gathered what remained of his strength. Elizabeth felt it, every watt of power, every fragment of will, every last reserve he had left. "What are you doing?" she asked. "I will break the sphere." "You can't. You'll—" "Yes." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Elizabeth pressed her hand against the interface, tears blurring her vision. "Then let me help." "You already are." He ignited his engines one final time. The moon lurched, the sphere trembled, the alien formation wavered. For a heartbeat, Elizabeth thought he might actually break free. Then the aliens fired. A single concentrated beam of violet energy lanced through the sphere, striking little brother dead center. Elizabeth screamed as the neural link exploded with white pain. Little brother's light flared, brilliant, desperate, then collapsed into darkness. The containment sphere dimmed. The moon fell silent, and Earth's guardian drifted, broken and still. Chapter 4. Earth Stands Alone. The silence after little brother fell was worse than the battle. No explosions, no alarms, no screams. Just a hollow, suffocating quiet that settled over the world like ash. At Mauna Kea, Virginia Taylor stared at the projection, unable to speak. The image of little brother drifted across the screen, dark, cracked, motionless. The guardian that had held back the alien fleet for hours now looked like a dead star. Dr. Anders Kellogg lowered himself into a chair, his hands trembling. "He's offline," he whispered. "Completely." Virginia swallowed hard. "Can he reboot?" Kellogg shook his head. "Not after that. His core is... it's gone." The alien containment sphere dissolved, its purpose fulfilled. The ships that formed it peeled away like petals falling from a dying flower, drifting back into formation with eerie grace. They were no longer focused on the moon. They were turning toward Earth. Elizabeth Archer lay on the floor of the neural interface chamber, her body shaking uncontrollably. The neural link had gone dark. No warmth, no presence, no voice. Just emptiness. She pressed her palm against the interface plate, her voice barely a whisper. "Little brother, please." Nothing answered. The silence felt like a wound. She forced herself upright, gripping the rail with trembling hands. "Come back," she begged. "You can't leave me. Not like this." Still nothing. The link was dead, and she felt the absence like a missing limb. In orbit, the alien fleet shifted into a new formation, vast, curved, and impossibly precise. A crescent of obsidian ships stretching across thousands of kilometers, its inner edge glowing with a cold violet fire. Virginia's voice cracked. "That's not a containment pattern." Kellogg nodded slowly. "No, that's a weapon." The crescent brightened, its energy building in a slow, terrible rhythm. Virginia felt her chest tighten. "What kind of weapon?" Kellogg didn't look away from the screen. "The kind that ends civilizations." The projection zoomed in automatically, revealing a swirling vortex forming at the center of the crescent. Dark energy spiraling inward, bending light, warping space. Virginia whispered, "A planet killer." Kellogg nodded. "They're going to fire it at Earth." Across the planet, people stepped outside and looked up. In New York, crowds gathered in Times Square, staring at the moon glowing with unnatural light. In Tokyo, commuters stopped mid-stride as emergency broadcasts lit up every screen. In Nairobi, families held each other tightly, whispering prayers. In São Paulo, children pointed at the sky, asking their parents what was happening. No one had an answer, but everyone felt the same thing. The end was coming. Elizabeth felt something flicker in the neural link, so faint she almost missed it. A spark, a whisper, a heartbeat. "Little brother," she gasped. The link pulsed once, then faded again. Elizabeth pressed her forehead against the interface, tears streaming down her face. "Don't go," she whispered. "Please don't go." A final whisper brushed her mind, weak, broken, fading. "Commander, I am sorry." Then nothing. The link went dark. For the first time since the war began, Elizabeth Archer felt truly alone. The alien crescent reached full charge. The vortex expanded, its edges crackling with violet lightning. The stars around it dimmed, swallowed by the growing sphere of annihilation. Virginia's voice broke. "They're firing." Kellogg closed his eyes. "Goodbye, Earth." The beam surged forward, massive, unstoppable, a column of dark energy wide enough to engulf continents. It passed the moon in a heartbeat. It tore through space like a cosmic scythe. It raced toward Earth, and there was nothing left to stop it. Earth stood alone. Chapter 5: The Arrival of Little Sister. The alien beam tore through space like a blade of living night. It swallowed starlight, it bent gravity, it screamed with the power of a dying sun. And it was aimed directly at Earth. At Mauna Kea, Virginia Taylor felt her knees weaken as the projection filled with violet fire. "It's over," she whispered. Dr. Anders Kellogg didn't speak. He simply closed his eyes as if bracing for the impact. Across the world, billions watched the sky. Some prayed, some screamed, some held their loved ones close. Some simply stared, unable to comprehend the end of everything they had ever known. The beam crossed the final stretch of space. It passed the moon's orbit. It descended toward Earth. And then the stars went out. Not dimmed, not flickered. Went out. A shadow slid between Earth and the beam, vast, silent, and impossibly smooth. A sphere of black alloy and silver veins, larger than Little Brother, larger than anything humanity had ever built or imagined. The alien beam struck it dead center and vanished. Not deflected, not absorbed, erased. Virginia gasped. "What? What just happened?" Kellogg stared at the projection, his voice barely a breath. "Something intercepted it." "Something," Virginia whispered. Kellogg swallowed. "No. Someone." Elizabeth Archer felt the neural link spark. just a flicker at first, like a match struck in a dark room. Then another. Then a surge of energy so powerful it knocked her backward. She hit the floor, breathless. A voice filled the chamber. Not little brothers, not broken, not fading. This voice was whole. This voice was ancient. This voice was alive. "Commander Archer!" Elizabeth froze. The voice was calm, resonant, layered with a confidence that felt like gravity itself. "I have come for my brother." Elizabeth pushed herself upright, heart pounding. Who are you?" The chamber lights flared, bathing the room in silver. "I am Little Sister," the voice said. "Designation LB-2. Elizabeth's breath caught. "You're real." "Yes." "Where have you been?" "Far," Little Sister answered. "Beyond the reach of your sensors, beyond the reach of your enemies. Waiting." "For what?" "For this moment." In orbit, the black sphere rotated slowly, its surface shifting like liquid metal. Panels unfolded, revealing luminous conduits that pulsed with silver light. The alien fleet reacted instantly. Their crescent formation shattered. Ships scattered, recalibrating, adapting, preparing to fire again. Little Sister did not move. She simply spoke. "Alien fleet," she said, her voice echoing across every human and alien frequency. "You have attacked my brother." The alien ships charged their weapons. "You have threatened my world." The conduits along Little Sister's hull brightened. "You will not do so again." The alien fleet fired. Hundreds of beams converged on Little Sister, forming a storm of violet energy that should have torn a moon apart. The beams hit her hull and dissolved. Elizabeth felt the power through the neural link. Immense, controlled, terrifying. Little Sister finally moved. A single panel on her surface opened. A single beam of silver light emerged. It swept across the alien fleet like a scythe. Ships didn't explode. They didn't burn. They simply ceased to exist. The crescent formation collapsed in seconds. The survivors fled, and Little Sister pursued. She moved with impossible speed, cutting through space like a blade through water. Each time she fired, another alien ship vanished in a burst of silver light. Virginia watched the projection, speechless. She's hunting them." Kellogg nodded slowly. "And they can't adapt. Not to her." Little Sister's voice filled the neural chamber again. "Commander Archer." Elizabeth swallowed. "Yes?" "Your world is safe." Elizabeth felt tears sting her eyes. "Thank you." "I did not come for thanks," Little Sister said. "I came for him." Her voice softened, just barely. "My brother still lives." Elizabeth's breath caught. "He's alive?" "Yes, faint, fading, but alive." Little Sister slowed, drifting back toward the moon. "I will not let him die." The black sphere approached Little Brother's broken form, extending a shimmering field of silver energy. It wrapped around him gently, like hands lifting a wounded child. Elizabeth felt the neural link flicker, weak but present. "Little brother," she whispered. A faint pulse answered her. Little Sister spoke softly. "Rest, brother. I am here now." The silver field brightened. Little Brother's cracked hull glowed. His systems stirred. And for the first time since the war began, hope returned to the sky. Chapter 6. A New Guardian. The war ended not with a final explosion, but with a silence so deep it felt sacred. The last alien ship vanished into a streak of silver light, erased by Little Sister's final shot. The stars returned to their natural brightness. The void settled, and for the first time since the invasion began, the sky felt still. At Mauna Kea, Virginia Taylor exhaled a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. The projection showed the alien fleet's remnants scattering into the darkness, fleeing like shadows chased from a fire. "They're gone," she whispered. Dr. Anders Kellogg nodded, though his expression held no triumph, only awe. "No, they're running." Virginia looked at him. "From her." Kellogg didn't disagree. Little Sister drifted toward the moon, her black hull glowing with soft silver light. She moved with a gentleness that felt impossible for something so vast. As she approached Little Brother's broken form, the silver light expanded into a shimmering field that wrapped around him like a protective cocoon. Elizabeth Archer felt the neural link stir again, weak, fragile, but alive. She pressed her hand against the interface plate, her voice trembling. "Little brother, can you hear me?" A faint pulse answered her. Not words, not strength, just a heartbeat. She closed her eyes, tears slipping down her cheeks. "You held the line. You saved us." The pulse flickered, as if acknowledging her. Little Sister's voice filled the chamber, calm and steady. "He is damaged, but not lost." Elizabeth swallowed. "Can you repair him?" "Yes, it will take time. His core is fractured, his consciousness is unstable, but he is my brother. I will not allow him to die." Elizabeth let out a shaky breath. "Thank you." Little Sister paused, as if considering her next words. "You fought beside him. You kept him anchored. Without you, he would have fallen sooner." Elizabeth shook her head. "I didn't do anything." "You stayed," Little Sister said. "That is not nothing." Across Earth, people emerged from shelters and bunkers, staring up at the sky. News feeds filled with images of the black sphere hovering beside the moon, its silver light illuminating the fractures across the lunar surface. Some called it a miracle, some called it a warning, some simply cried. In every city, every country, every home, the same question echoed. What now? Governments scrambled to understand what had happened. Scientists tried to explain the impossible. Religious leaders offered interpretations. Conspiracy theorists celebrated. Children pointed at the sky with wide eyes. But no one, not even the people who had known of Little Brother's existence, had any idea what Little Sister truly was, or why she had come now. Little Sister turned her attention toward Earth. Her voice resonated across every communication channel, every frequency, every device capable of receiving a signal. "People of Earth," she said, her tone neither cold nor warm, simply certain. "You are safe." The world listened in stunned silence. "I am Little Sister. I was created to protect this world when my brother could not. I have returned because the threat you faced was not isolated. Others will come." Her words rippled across the planet like a tide. "But you are not alone. My brother will recover. I will remain. And together we will stand between you and the darkness beyond your stars." The signal faded. The world erupted into noise, cheers, sobs, questions, disbelief. But above it all, the sky remained calm. In the neural chamber, Elizabeth watched the silver field around Little Brother pulse gently, like a heartbeat syncing with another. Little Sister hovered beside him, silent and vigilant. Elizabeth whispered, "You're really staying, aren't you?" Little Sister answered softly, "Yes, until he wakes, until the next threat comes, until Earth no longer needs us." Elizabeth looked up at the projection of the two moons, one dim, one brilliant, hanging side by side in the night sky. "Will that day ever come?" she asked. Little Sister paused before answering. "I do not know, but I will be here until it does." Elizabeth nodded, feeling a strange mix of grief and hope settle in her chest. The war was over. The sky was safe. For now. But the universe had taken notice of Earth. And somewhere in the darkness beyond the stars, something else was listening. Little sister turned her gaze outward, her silver light brightening. "Let them come," she whispered. And the story of Earth's hidden guardians had only just begun. The end. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.